Africa's youth population is increasingly vulnerable to online job scams. Now, the promise of the creative job opportunities and easy money has led many young Africans to fall prey to these scams. The consequences are devastating, ranging from financial loss to emotional trauma, and these are the issues. Today, we discuss the vulnerability of youth across Africa in terms of job opportunities and the reasons for that. This is Fafano Africa, a show that spotlights the youth across the African continent, their challenges and their opportunities. I'm Blessings Mosugu, and I'll be your host for the show. So sit tight as we take you through 1 hour of bliss. Now, one might be moved to wonder what the possible causes could be of youth across the continent continuously remaining vulnerable to online job scams. And, well, if you look critically at it, Africa has one of the highest youth unemployment rates globally, making the young people desperate for job opportunities. And we would also not forget that job market and in many African countries is limited, leading to a lack of legitimate job opportunities. And so I'll be having a guest join me, or some guests join me to discuss this. Joining me now is MaCall Mensah, a communications officer, Green Africa Youth Organization. Thank you so much, MaCall Mensah, for joining us. We also have joining us Eunice Eze. It's an absolute pleasure. We also have Eunice Eze joining us, a product designer located in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Eunice, for joining us, if you can hear me.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure. All right. I already did a full-on introduction of what we're talking about today, so I just want to hear your views. I'll start with MaCall Mensah. The basic question here is, why are young Africans mostly the target of online job scam, and why do they fall prey to these job scams?
Once again, thank you, and I'm honored to be here. To your question, I think the answer is simple. Africa finds itself in a space where poverty is influencing most of the things we do. And as youth, poverty has dictated what we should do and not to do. And then poverty that's coming from high youth unemployment, limited access to accurate information about jobs and stuff. And this is influencing people taking up jobs that probably they might not really do the needed investigation about the job. So my initial comment is that the main reason why Africans are being on the list, the high place of the list when it comes to
Eunice,
online jobs,
this is Frank.
has to do with unemployment, high youth unemployment.
What better way do you think that these job scams can be prevented, these online job scams can be prevented?
I think, like I stated, it starts with getting people the right employment. When people are unemployed for a longer time, there's a likelihood that they will jump onto any opportunity that befalls them. And one of the opportunities that is constantly on the rise is online jobs, remote jobs. And if you're not careful and you have been home for a long time after university or tertiary, you will jump onto these jobs. For us to be safe, we need to get correct or accurate job information about these online jobs. Sometimes it's good that we do the needed investigations personally, go to websites, go to social media, ask questions. If you know somebody who is already there, ask questions about these jobs. That will give you a clear idea of what you're doing and what you're not doing right. Because because of social media, there's an increased internet penetration. And then the internet penetration means that you can get access to every information that you want about every company on this earth. And it becomes scary when the job that is being offered to you, you can't find important information about them. You go to Google and you can't find details about their phone numbers, their contacts, their emails. You can't get those information. It should give you a clue that this job that has been offered, there is something fishy about it. And as youth, we need to be smart. We need to be intelligent when we are jumping onto jobs like this. You just don't need to jump onto this job because you have been unemployed for a long time. No, do the needed job. And some of these jobs are very unrealistic. They offer you unrealistic salaries. You know deep down your heart that you are not worth $3,000 a month. But this job is offering you $3,000 a month. And you think it's the right thing to do. You think, oh, I've suffered for long. This is the time for me to milk. So you jump onto the job. So sometimes you need to look at what you offer and what the job is ready to pay you, and see if you are on the right path. Other things that you also that is also causing a lot of African youth jumping onto this how do you call it online scam is the pressure to succeed. The pressure to succeed. There is pressure from every quarters, community, your family, your friends, your colleagues, your old schoolmates. Everybody's flaunting something flashy or something expensive or something nice. So there's this pressure that you want to succeed, and you moved to jump onto these jobs that might not even provide you, might not even be legit at the end of the day. And it's surprising that most of these online jobs, it starts with, after they have offered you the job, they tell you that, oh, pay something so that we can process your interviews. Pay something so that we can move on with the interviews. I know there are some jobs that offer those things, but it's fishy. When the person offering the job is telling you to pay something before they offer you the job, you need to be smart and start thinking through, start investigating about the job market, the job that you are being offered, and be sure that this is the right job before you fall prey to these online scammers.
So you talked about being smart, and very quickly, let me confirm. Eunice, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. I'm glad we have you back. But let me circle back to MaCall Mensah very quickly. You talked about being smart, and you also talked about the pressure, especially the society we find ourselves. So you would agree with me that the desperation sometimes can make people, live in denial, or so to say, because a lot of people would see these opportunities and not think too much about it. So that's where ignorance and illiteracy, digital illiteracy comes in. How best do you think that the young people especially can be trained? It's not enough to say that if you see an unrealistic amount of money, then they're scammers. There are some people who are more realistic with the scams. So how better can we train the younger people, especially the netizens, to be more wary of these scammers?
It starts with education, and it starts with about getting the right information about the job. Most of these jobs probably didn't even apply. Some are there that they'll tell you that, oh, we looked at your CV, we looked at your portfolio on social media, and we think you are fit for the job. If you really applied for the job, what investigation did you do beyond just the email that you got? Verify, go to other places. If you can speak to one or two people in that industry, in that space, speak to them and ask the questions. Have you heard about this company before? Have you seen them before? Do they have a physical location? If they don't have a physical location, do you get there are various ways on social media. Like I said, the same way they're using the online space to scammers, you can also get right information from the same online space. It sometimes comes with a bit of difficulty because our internet or social media space is saturated with a lot of untruth. And like I said, if you're not smart, if you're not decisive, if you're not discerning in selecting what you watch or what you listen to, you might end up falling prey. So it starts by you educating yourself very well about the best ways to navigate the social media space, navigate the internet, and find the right information that you need about these companies that are luring us with huge salaries, are luring us with good holidays, are luring us with traveling, expenses being paid and all that. So right from the onset, Google, make a search, put social media, ask questions. Be certain that this move that you are making is the right move. At the moment they start asking you to make payment before you get the job, as a smart young person, you need to start asking these questions before you even initiate any payment.
Right. Very spot on. Thank you, MaCall Mensah. Now, very quickly, let me come to Eunice. I wish that I could say that these youths are only being defrauded of their money, but we've seen situations where young people get killed by, sadly, other young people because they were lured with these job opportunities. So, and just as Mensah has spotted, the major or the root cause of these job scams and why people fall vulnerable or fall prey to it is the economic situation, the poverty situation in Africa especially. So how can economic empowerment play a role in ensuring that these issues of poverty and unemployment are addressed? We know that it's going to take time before it's completely eradicated, if at all it can be completely eradicated. But how can these empowerments play a role in ensuring that these problems are reduced at least to the minimum?
So I'm guessing the question is for me, right?
Sure.
All right, so I would say that there are two reasons why a lot of young people fall prey to job scams. The first reason is desperation, because you really want to make money, you need a job as soon as possible. And the second reason is lack of information. Just like Mensah said, when a lot of young people see online jobs, they don't really check the right platforms. So he was referencing social media, but I would make it direct. You can easily find an existing company on LinkedIn, right? So if you see a company that's offering you a job, you should check if they have a LinkedIn account. You should check if they have a website, or you should check if they have like Twitter, now known as X accounts, because those are the platforms where you find main companies, right? And how the government can work to eradicate this. They can work with online job platforms, not the verified online job platforms. Take me, for example, last year, I got my job through an online job platform called Hire for Staff. Now, this job platform helps you get secure jobs. So when a recruiter puts a job on there, they schedule a call with every recruiter to confirm that you are a legit and official recruiter, right? If they don't get a call across to you or communicate with any of your representatives, you will not be allowed to put jobs out there, and people will not be allowed to like apply on any job you put out there on their platform, right? So I really think the government can work hand in hand with these job application sites and put out legit jobs for younger people. And they can also create a lot of awareness, because a lot of students don't know anything about how to find jobs online or any of these things. They just like graduate from school and they are faced with the whole life after school. But if we can incorporate this into their curriculum, their courses, where we teach them practical ways on how to vet jobs, how to read through job descriptions, because I can tell you that it's about just maybe 2 to 5% of young Africans that read through a job description. All they go to check is, okay, this is the amount they are paying. Okay, do they have HMO, or these are the benefits? So I think that's what can be done. Thank you.
All right, MaCall, what would you say is the role of civil society organizations in addressing these issues?
I think from the onset, like I said, civil society can help us expand education, expand the conversation. Most of these young individuals might be just relying on the knowledge they have gained themselves. But if there's a proper education, there's a proper conversation that is being held, if in our various institutions, we get civil societies and force some of these conversations, make sure that the students and the young individuals or the youth are being told how to navigate themselves through these tough times, I think it will help. Also, we need to, civil society can help inform our relatives, help educate our community, help educate those around us that sometimes these pressures in life, the youth also go through pressures in life. They should sometimes lower the pressure to succeed. Sometimes they should help us lower the pressure to succeed. If civil societies are able to raise these conversations, not just on the youth, but on every other stakeholder, it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the youth to jump into any job that is available. Even beyond the online job scams, even jobs that we even get from the various offices, it's not all of them that come out to be true or come out to be legit. And if we are not careful, we will end up finding ourselves in businesses that somebody might end up losing their lives. We have heard stories all over the place where people have traveled from one place to the other just to get a good job and end up dying or end up finding themselves in situations that are unbearable. In Ghana, for example, at a point in time, there was this craze about online jobs, about people having to travel to Kuwait, to Qatar to go and work. And they get there and they tell you that what was publicized on their various platforms online is not what they experienced when they got to the place. But if we get people, if we get agencies who are verifying and making sure that before we give out visa to these individuals who want to travel to go and work outside, we can also verify to see if this work or if this job that are being offered to citizens who are moving out are legit or not. So it comes basically about civil society helping us do the right investigation and also educating us on how to surf through and find which job is genuine and not genuine.
All right, thank you, MaCall Mensah, for that. Okay, so let me also ask the impact that this would have on the legit job websites. I mean, we've seen cases where those who are now actually legit are struggling to get people because, like it or not, there's a deficit of job opportunities in Africa. So if we have legit websites that actually are willing to provide these jobs for people, but then everybody has trust issues, that's going to go a long way in affecting their veracity. So Eunice, what impact do you think that this will have on the credibility of the actual websites that are needed for the youth?
Well, I would say it would have maybe little or no impact. So little or no impact because there are people like me that can come and testify about how these legit job websites have given me a job, right? And when you see testimonials, when you see reviews about people that have successfully gotten jobs from these websites, you want to try them. I also feel like there should be like a regulation that regulates job websites or job platforms because I know that there are a lot of tech job platforms where you can get online jobs. And to be honest, I feel we as individuals, we have a big role to play in it because we cannot just blame the job platforms, right? If anybody scams you, it's because you let yourself be scammed, right? I'm not saying this out of inconsideration for people that were scammed, but you should educate yourself in a certain way. You should be aware, you should get certain information, and you should also be able and willing to talk to people around you. If you see a job that tells you, oh, you need to travel to this place for an interview, why are you traveling to that place without telling anybody, not even your sibling or your closest friend or somebody? So I feel like the dangers are there. It affects the legit job websites, but I also feel we as individuals have a role to play in it. Thank you.
All right, Mensah, I'd like to ask if you share the same thought with Eunice regarding that.
Yeah, I think I do, and we play a major role. Individuals who are searching for these jobs, we play a major role, and every decision we take, it's on to us. It's on us first. If it's our life, we are losing our life. It's our money. It's we losing our money. So as youth, if you see something like this, it's good for you to start reporting. I think it's good for you to start reporting. Most of these websites have been in operation for a very, very long time, where they are offering fake jobs that are unreal. But because we are regularly not reporting, as Africans as we are, we leave it to God instead of us to do the right thing. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have been scammed, speak to somebody. There is this funny feeling that yes, when you speak to somebody, you might be laughed at, might be ridiculed that you have wasted money, you have been fooled by somebody. But if we don't start reporting them to the various agencies for them to be tracked down, if we don't start talking about it, people will not get the education and will not keep themselves safe. Apart from the digital literacy that needs to be increased and re-verifying the jobs, we need to start reporting the scammers. We need to start reporting platforms that are promoting fake online jobs. Otherwise, places like LinkedIn, that might be providing genuine jobs, might also face similar things. And I'm hoping that there's a lot of verifications for websites like LinkedIn so that we might not have cases where people are also being frauded when they jump onto jobs from places like LinkedIn.
Okay, speaking of social media apps, Eunice, let me come back to you. Do you think that some of these social media apps actually endorse scams or scammers or scamming? Because I said that because in certain instances, you see where someone gets scammed or encounters a fraudulent page and they try to report it, but somehow the person just easily slips away and maybe opens another page or even blocks the person reporting. I don't know if social media is heavy on actually investigating why a page or a business is being reported. So do you think that social media actually endorses scam?
I would not say they endorse scam, but maybe their approach to resolving it and helping the victim may be slow, right? So if you report a page, most times if you report a page, just one report would not make them take down the page or block it. You probably have to talk to a lot of people to help you report their page. So I feel what social media platforms can do is to take at least one complaint very seriously, because there have been times when maybe somebody was scammed and they will have to tell their friends, oh, please help me report this page, help me report this page. And it's okay, take for instance, I have a mentor, W. White. There was a time when his X account was hacked, and it took a whole community to send mails to X and send them DMs for them to give him back his account. So I feel like what they can do better is to take every single complaint and report seriously. They don't need to wait till they get 100 complaints or 100 reports about one issue before they can stand up. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, MaCall Mensah, Eunice Eze. You're still going to stay with us, but we want to go on a short break now. It's still Fafano Africa, and we're talking about the scam culture, especially job scams, online job scams, and how people have fallen prey to it over the years. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation, so don't go anywhere. Many thanks for staying with us. We're still talking about online job scams, and I have my guest with me, MaCall Mensah, a communications officer, Green Africa Youth Organization, and of course I still have Eunice Eze, product designer in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, lady and gentleman, for still being here. Now, I wanted to ask MaCall, we've talked about some measures that can be adopted on the African continent. Do you think that there are measures that other continents have adopted to try and curb job online scams that can be adopted by the African continent?
Thank you for the question. I think the base might not be the same. Like I stated, there is a high rate of poverty in Africa, and then these online jobs mostly target their scams towards people who are who can easily be lured by good salary and then online jobs. So Africa, our case might be different from that of Asia or Europe or even Americans. But I think they have put in place some strong ways where jobs have to pass through before you even put a job out there. They have to pass through some registration. I know in the UK, before you even post out a job, like how in Ghana or in Africa, it's kind of constant thing that we have a lot of online vendors. In the UK, there are strategies or their system put in place by the government to make sure that everybody that is selling something online, anybody that's running business, anybody that is putting a job out there has registered or gone through a particular system. In Africa, it's not the same. Now we are getting a lot of online vendors, we have a lot of online jobs, and they don't go through any credible, systems to verify if what they're doing is right or not. I know if it is a building facility that is there with a job having the fiscal appearance, I'm sure the government or institutions will approach them. So I think Africa can do well and then put systems in place where any job that is being advertised, any job that is being put on social media, on the digital space, can be verified before it's been allowed to function or show in their country. I know there are ways that these things can be verified by institutions. I know there are ways, the same way the government can, block some information coming to their country's internet space. They can find a way of verifying these jobs before they hit our space in our digital space, because it's becoming scary every moment, every day, almost every time. You are hearing stories about somebody who has been scammed because of a job, somebody who has been killed because of a job, somebody who finds themselves in a very bad space because they have been scammed for a job that they really, really want, a job that they think they can really, really do. So the government has a lot of work to do to help us curb this constant flow of online jobs that are not really helping the youth.
All right. Okay. All right, Eunice, I also want to ask, I mean, you would agree with me that these days people no longer carry their CVs and portfolios walking from one office to another or one company to another. Everything is more digitalized now. With all of these challenges that we're talking about, do you think that the perks of digital job searching is more than, the physical one that we used to know back in the days?
Sorry, did you say the pressure? I didn't get
The
the
perks, like the advantages of digital job searching.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
like,
yes.
yes.
I would say it has a lot of advantages, but it also has because everything that has a pro has a con, right? Just like the whole job scam. So a lot of young people do not read job descriptions. I'm not going to lie, I rarely read your job descriptions because it can be a lot. And I think Africans, we have this reading problem. We get so impatient. That's why we do more videos and whatnot. But yes, the advantages of online job applications are better because your CV, your portfolio, everything is digitalized. You can just like get it with one link on one document. You don't necessarily have to print a lot of papers, and maybe when you update it, you get to print another one, right? So whenever you update it, the update is just there. It's like the link is not changing. Maybe if you're downloading a document, the document might change, but you're not like trashing anything or whatnot. So yes, the advantages are better or are more than the disadvantages. Thank you.
Okay, MaCall, I also want to ask a very practical question. Do you think that Africa is digitally literate enough to handle technology? I know that this question is coming some years late, but we see some of the challenges that we're running into. There's some now the job seeking or job opportunity scam is a global problem, I want to believe, but most times we have it more heightened on the African continent, and it makes you wonder, are we ready to actually adopt some of these advanced technology that we see and hear of because of some of, like Eunice mentioned, the fact that we don't read. They say if you want to hide something from an African man, put it in a book. So sometimes we're very oblivious of a lot of things, and we do not equip ourselves, like we mentioned earlier. So do you think that Africa is ready for advanced technology, for that kind of advanced life that we so seek?
I think we are. I think beyond ready, Africa over the years have grown drastically relating to re-understanding the digital space and understand technology. I think we have come a long way. We are doing better now. Go to social media, go to Facebook, X, TikTok, go to LinkedIn, all the other places, Instagram. Africans are playing a major role in the growth of these places. And we also have a problem. And the problem is that we have limited our education, we have limited our literacy to just some small part of the space. So people that are able to find a loophole in the digital space, digital literacy space, are probably people that might find ways to scam us. Africans will not go a step further to verify a job, online job, by doing a thorough search on Google, doing a thorough search on platforms and asking questions. How many Africans will even get time to go through, when there's an online job, how many people will get time to go through reviews of that company? When we are buying something, how many people get time to even go through comments? When we even get products, normal products, how many people get time to read the back, the instructions, and what the product entails and how the product should be used or not? So yes, Africans, we have limited digital literacy. We do have, but it's very limited to just some particular things. We now need to expand our digital literacy to where we identify some things, some little things, and also find a way to practice safe, have a safe internet space. So we need to expand our digital literacy. We have come a long way, but there's still more way for us to go, for us to be able to be top-notch when it comes to digital practices in the world.
All right, thank you for that. Eunice, let me come back to you now. It's been proven time and time again that Africans do not necessarily believe in the see something, say something principle. And as much as we believe that a lot of Africans are vocal, many a times we tend to want to mind our business. So we see buildings that have been abandoned for a while, and we see some fraudulent activities going on there, or we see some pages that look fraudulent and nobody's willing to report it. Everyone is saying, as long as they don't come near me, I'm fine. So do you think that this mind my own business syndrome is one of the things that is causing the duplicity of job scammers?
I would say it's one of the causes, but I also do not blame people that mind their businesses because in Africa we preach drink water and mind your business. But we also fail to understand that it doesn't apply in every context. Take, for instance, maybe you see a fraudulent activity happening. I know that you might be minding your business because you are scared that, oh, if I report them, they might come for me. Or what are the chances that if I report them, the authorities will do the right thing, right? So there's that fear. And there's also the part of, oh, why should I report him? What do I stand to gain? So yes, it causes it, but we should also look at the views of the people that mind their business. They have good reasons, which may not be good to you or may not be good to me, but they have good reasons, and yeah, it also causes the whole issue. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Now, MaCall, I also want to ask, now we've mentioned over and over again in the course of the conversation that young people especially need to educate themselves, digitally educate themselves on what's going on online, some of the job opportunities and all, need to learn to spot when it's fake and when it's real. But the truth is there's a limit to what an individual can know if they're not taught digital literacy. So where does the government come in that? Where do agencies come in that? What can be done to educate the average individual? Like I said, there's a limit to what they can teach themselves.
So we go back to the conversation I've already had, where I said that institutions should help us expand the conversation about digital literacy. In school, conversation about the internet should move on beyond just you knowing what a CPU is, what a system unit is, what a monitor is, what a keyboard is. Conversation should move beyond that. Kids today know these things even before they step foot in the classroom. Now, kids should be taught about better things, upgrade, move the conversation about computer, ICT to the next level. Move the conversation about ICT to where people can. I know there's a craze about coding right now on the continent of Africa, where there's a lot of young people coding. Now let's help people who are not in the coding department to also understand the digital space. So institutions, government, especially educational institutions, can help us in schools educate kids about identifying online scams. And when they do identify online scams, what do they do next? Do you report them? What do you do? Because most people don't know. Most of us probably watching the show today might not even know what we do next when we find a scam. Oh, we might have heard this is an online scam. Okay, let me mind my own business. And then, as Eunice said, probably in Africa they say you drink water and mind your business. But we need to teach them how to identify the scams. And when you do identify the scams, what you should do next from there. If you're able to do these things, at least there will be a conversation. And when the conversation begins to grow, that's where people begin to get literate relating to digital scams. Because it's becoming scary. Every moment, there is this one story popping up. And if we are not careful, most of us, you might think it's far from you, but you don't know when a close person somebody around you, a family member, a community member, can't find or will find themselves in such a problem. So the government can help us expand the conversation and put stuff in our education system where we teach digital literacy. We teach it not just on the basic level, but go more into detail so that we can save the youth.
All right, thank you, MaCall Mensah, for that. Now, one final question before we go. Eunice Mensah has mentioned that we need to, it's not just about identifying these scammers, it's to know what next to do. And that brings me to my last question before we wrap things up. Do you think that a lot of scammers, if not all, in this part of the world get away easily with their actions? If you look at the Western world, for example, the Western world, you see that someone caught being fraudulent faces the heavy hand of the law, and in most cases is asked to pay back the money that they defrauded the individual of. But here, it feels like a silent conversation. We don't exactly, yes, some scammers are spotted, some are arrested, but that's all that we hear about it. We don't hear the penalty. We don't hear if they're being arrested, if they're asked to pay back. It just feels like they get away with it. Do you think that that's the case in Africa?
To be honest, I would not want to say yes, but it looks like that. I've been scammed before. I was scammed, I think, early last year, and they got away with it. I mean, even after I report, it was just like just a bank scam. All my money was withdrawn and whatnot, but the bank just apologized, gave me new cards, new PIN and whatnot, but I never got my money back. Right, so I would say, unfortunately, yes, most scammers get away with things in this country, and it's sad.
All right, thank you so much. That's the much we can take for today. Thank you again, MaCall Mensah, Communications Officer, Green Africa Youth Organization, and of course, Eunice Eze, product designer, who is joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for lending your voice to this conversation, and we hope that this is a continuous conversation about online scams so that people can be more informed and well-equipped on what to do when they come across these people. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that's all we can take on today's episode of Afanua Africa. I hope that you have learned something. There's a lesson to be learned here from this conversation. Do well to have a rewatch. Do well to like, share, and comment on our socials. And most importantly, join us in our subsequent episodes as we discuss more issues that the youth are facing on the African continent, their challenges and their opportunities. My name is Blessings Mosugu, and I've been your host for the show. Have a beautiful day and join us again on our subsequent episode.